What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a standard deck that I 100% did not steal from Aurabomb, and his channel is definitely not linked in the description below. But before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, as it helps us out a lot, and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And as for the question of the day, so this is going to be one of the most random questions that I've ever asked, but I don't know, for some reason it just like came into my mind, and I was like, you know what, I've done random questions before, why the heck not do it why the heck not do it in this one? And so that question is, what is the one simple thing, whether that could be like how to do something or just like a general knowledge thing, that just makes you feel stupid? It's like I don't know, just like a simple common knowledge thing, like, well, I mean, to use the How I Met Your Mother episode, how like Barney can't use a screwdriver, or Ted pronounces chameleon as chameleon. I mean, it's just something like that where nobody else has trouble and you can't figure out for the life of you why this thing always gives you such issues, but it just randomly does. For me, okay, now keep in mind, I am in the process of becoming a doctor. And so, I mean, this doesn't mean that you're like a dumb person or anything like that. It's just that one random gap in your knowledge that for whatever reason just cannot and will not fill itself. For me, there are actually two things. The first one is the word restaurant and how to spell it. So I've always been one that, like, I'm actually pretty good at spelling. I can usually spell most words, even the complicated words. Like, I'm able to spell those pretty easily, but for whatever reason, the word restaurant, I cannot spell correctly on the first try. Every single time, I always have to take a second or third attempt to spell it because I just never know where the AU is when I'm in the moment. And the second thing that I have a ton of trouble with is cardinal directions. So back in my hometown, like, my dad is amazing at cardinal directions. In my hometown, I know all the streets. I know how to get pretty much anywhere from anywhere. But when it comes to like, oh, go east or go west on such and such street, I blank hard. Like, my dad is, like I said, is amazing at cardinal directions, so he can be like, oh yeah, you take an east down Main and turn right onto, or you go east on Main, turn north onto College, and then take a left on Cherry Grove. And then I'm just like, okay, well, I understood Cherry Grove. I understood turn left onto Cherry Grove. But for whatever reason, when it comes to, oh yeah, you're heading north on Main Street, which direction is that? Is that towards the movie theater, or is that towards like the Jimmy John's? Like, I just, for whatever reason, cardinal directions, have no idea, and I just feel like a complete idiot whenever it comes to that. I just blank horribly. So let me know what is the very simple gap, that the gap in knowledge that you guys have. Like, I'm even getting flustered talking about it just because it's like so hard to describe, because like I know I'm not dumb, but just this very simple thing I cannot seem to fully understand. But anyway, let's just go ahead and hop on into the deck. We are centering this deck around the combination of Shining Genesect and Naganadel, and this is, like I said, an Aurabomb deck that he gave me the idea, and he actually played it against me in our Lost Thunder Best of 3, and I was like, you know what, that's a very cool idea. I definitely have to try it out. And I've really been enjoying it from what I've tested out. I've switched a few things here and there, and then I maybe even switched them back potentially. I don't remember. I've had this list literally just sitting in my deck manager for a while, so I mean, it could be a legit carbon copy of Aurabomb's list, or it could be slightly different in certain ways. Not sure, and I'm too lazy to go check his video. But either way, centered around the combination of Shining Genesect and Naganadel. Everybody knows what Naganadel does at this point with charging up. You can attach a basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And Shining Genesect has Energy Reload, where once during your turn, man, if this thing was more than once per turn, that'd be so busted. You may move a Grass Energy from one of your other Pokemon to this Pokemon, and then Gaia Blaster does 50 plus 20 times the amount of Grass Energy attached to this Pokemon, so you can already see where this is going. Put a Grass Energy into the discard pile, use charging up to attach it to Naganadel, and then use Energy Reload to move it from Naganadel to the Genesect. So essentially, you are accelerating a single energy from the discard pile straight to Genesect. However, you can also attack with Naganadel with Turning Point, as its attack is just 3 colorless energy. That's all you need for it. So very, very simple synergy, but it's actually a little bit rough to pull off because you can't just immediately get a Genesect. Like, you can't play a Genesect from your hand and then just move a ton of energy onto it. You have to have it down there with an energy already on it unless you want to make some energy switch plays, which is why we're running a high amount of those in the deck anyway. So it's a very clunky deck at times that's not... I mean, I'm going to be honest, it's not very good, but it is still really, really fun when you are able to get this pulled off and you are able to get this thing like going consistently in a game. So yeah, I really enjoy playing with it, but again, not very good, so don't expect to win like a ton. Don't expect to just be like, oh, I just win a bunch of games with this deck. No. This deck's kind of bad, but it's still very, very fun. As for the numbers of Pokemon we're using 4 of the Shining Genesect because that is what the deck is centered around, is attacking with that thing. And also, it's pretty bulky for just a non-GX basic with 130 HP. So, I mean, it's not like the best in the world, but it's not the worst in the world either. So, I mean, it's just very solid. It usually takes 2 hits to knock this thing out, where Gaia Blaster also is a 2-hit KO. So we're kind of trading 1-hit or 2-hit knockouts. And then if we're trading with Genesect, that works out in our favor. And then in some cases, we can even get a 1-hit knockout if we get enough energy on it and like a Choice Band or something like that. There are a couple Shuckle in this deck in order to use its ability Fresh Squeezed. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, during your turn you may search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and discard them, then shuffle your deck. Then it also has Energy Drink, where you attach 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. Like, Shuckle is a nice, like, energy accelerator, but the only issue is you can't really start with it because you have to play it from your hand onto the bench, so that means something else has to be in the active spot. And so, like, Shuckle inherently seems like it has a ton of synergy in this deck, but from what I've used and from what I've seen when I've been playing with it, it's just kind of awkward at times due to its wording. Like, if it just had the ability where once per turn you could discard 3, well then perfect. Shuckle would be the ideal starter for the deck, where you just mill 3 and then attach with Energy Drink. So I mean, it'd be great in that way, but the fact that you already had to have something in the active spot, then you play Shuckle down, then you have to retreat into Shuckle in order to use its acceleration attack, just kind of makes it a little bit weird to use. But I mean, it's still, the synergy is good enough with this deck and it just makes sense. I mean, even if you don't attack with it, you can still move energy into the discard pile for Naganadel. And then speaking of which, we are running 3-3 of Poipole and Naganadel so that we can have them consistently. 2 is kind of the ideal number-ish for Naganadel, so that way you can like constantly accelerate onto 2 different Genesects, but also have a couple in there so your opponent can't just target down one and completely destroy your engine of acceleration. So 3-3 is why we go with that, and then 2 Lele, just because Lele is amazing. As for the items, we're running 4 Acro Bike to go through our deck, get to the resources that we can use, and also throw things like Grass Energy into the discard pile, or like Shuckles, Poipoles that we're not going to use, Apricorn Makers if it's late in the game, yada yada yada. Just a way to get stuff into the discard pile while going through more cards of our deck. 3 Energy Switch because, like I said, Genesect's ability is only a single time per turn, so that is highly detrimental if you're trying to accelerate multiple energy onto it, and makes it really impossible without Energy Switch to just play a fresh Genesect down and get it attacking in one turn. So that's where Energy Switch can come in, because if you attach an energy to Genesect, move an energy onto it with Energy Reload from Naganadel, and then use an Energy Switch for another energy, then a fresh Genesect can attack. So we have to run a kind of high number so that we have that ability to do that. Field Blower because Spell Tag is actually super, super annoying for this deck, because Genesect usually avoids KOs by like 10 or 20 hit points. And so Spell Tag is just kind of like, yeah, your Genesect that's only a little bit away from being KO'd, yeah, it's dead. So yeah, that thing's very annoying to deal with, and also we're not running any stadiums in this deck, so being able to just get rid of our opponent's stadium can be highly beneficial. As for the search, we're in 2 Mysterious Treasure, 2 Nest Ball, and 4 Ultra Ball. A good amount of search so that we can quickly and consistently get our stuff up and going. 2 Rescue Stretcher for recursion, because, I mean, Genesect is that important, and also Poipole, if we have to discard them or our opponent targets them down, that's going to be quite bad. So being able to recycle our Genesects being being able to recycle them pretty quickly is going to be definitely ideal. 2 Apricorn Maker to start off, just to really, well, I mean, it's like a first turn type of card, but so is Lillie. So just whatever you kind of want in a certain situation. If you want a couple nest balls to get Genesect and Poipole out, then use Apricorn Maker. But if you already have a good enough bench, then Lillie can just get you more cards. 4/4 of Cynthia and Guzma, just because I mean that's a line that I'm comfortable with, so I just went with it. 1 Sightseer to get more stuff in the discard pile, like discard the energy. 2 Choice Band in order to decrease the damage output. 2 Wishful Baton to potentially save our energy and get them onto another Genesect so it can potentially get one-hit knockouts. And 11 Grass Energy so that we can, you know, have energy and have it when we need it. So yeah, that is the deck, and let's just go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against You've Been Duped. Haha, you been duped, as in you've been duped. It's a... I don't even know. But either way, it was a Psychic and Electric, or Lightning, sorry. Psychic, Lightning, and Normal, or at least I think it was Normal. So I start off with what would have been a great hand, if not for the fact that I don't have a basic Pokemon. So yeah, that's going to be something that I want to, you know, kind of have. And assuming my opponent eventually shows up, I mean, they're here, so... Okay, they do play something down, that is good. I don't know, I would really like to get this... I'd like to not have to try multiple times to get good games with this deck, so hoping that this will be a good one. The makeup of my opponent's deck should be okay, and I start off with a Lele. So that is very not good. That is like... Well, besides Shuckle, that is the only one I don't want to start with. The nice part of this deck is there isn't a whole lot of stuff that you... There's not a whole lot that you don't like that's really like super detrimental to have in the active spot. I mean, while at the same time you don't like having to manually retreat out, the fact that you have the ability to just attach an energy and manually retreat with like the Lele is something that is really, really nice. And just the 1 retreat cost, my mind was super scattered right there. But what I'm saying, in this deck, there's not a whole lot that has more than 1 retreat cost. In fact, the only thing that does is the Genesect, and you like having Genesect active anyway because it is the main attacker of this deck. So yeah, even though we start Lele, even though that's kind of the least ideal starter, at least I will be able to get, I'll be able to get a Poipole and a, do I want to get another Poipole? I might just do that. So let's get rid of, there's already 2 energy there. I think I'll just go ahead and get rid of a 3rd energy for a 2nd Poipole. Yeah, because I do have the Naganadel in my hand. Let's see what we can get off of that. And man, we are going to run through all of my energy switches in like 2 turns. Well, I'm going to want to hold on to those for later, because especially next turn I'm going to be able to go ahead and charge up with my Naganadel and then energy switch onto my Genesect, which is going to be definitely what I'm going for. I have plenty of stuff that is in, I have plenty of energy in the discard pile to be able to use those as resources. And my opponent's going to play down a Yamask. So we see Dino, Lele, and Yamask. So I'm really not sure what my opponent is running, in all honesty. So let's go ahead and evolve into Naganadel, charge up once, and then I'm going to go ahead and energy switch onto the Genesect, as that reduces the number of cards in my hand. Actually, I'm going to energy switch onto the Lele. Sorry, I wanted to be able to do that in order to discard stuff. But let's go ahead and Nest Ball for a Genesect. Or do I want another Poipole? Nah, I already have 2 Poipole, which I think should be sufficient. Let's grab another Genesect. And do I want to attack with Lele? I might just want to... Yeah, let's just go ahead and do that, because now I can always energy switch onto the Genesect, or I can use Genesect's ability in order to be able to energy reload. That's what it is. I can use energy reload in order to move the energy onto me. So my opponent is actually putting himself in range of just another energy from my Lele being able to knock him out. So that's good for me. I'm not sure what the Cofagrigus does. I'm really not. So I'm going to have to watch out for that thing. But the fact that there's the Lele means that this is more than likely a spread deck. And he's going to go ahead and Psywave that does 40 to me. That's not a huge deal. And I actually get another Naganadel. So this is terrific for me. What I'm going to do is manually retreat into my Genesect now. I'd rather not put Lele in harm's way as much as I can. So let's go ahead and charge up once and charge up twice so that I can move energy to both Genesects. And I still have the energy switch in my hand to move an energy from Lele onto Genesect. So let's go ahead and do that once. Let's energy reload in order to get an energy from one of my Naganadels, and then let's energy reload with the other Genesect to get the other energy from the Naganadel. So now this deck is fully up and running. My opponent doesn't seem to have a whole lot. I am going to Cynthia for a fresh hand, and I actually get another energy, so I'm going to do that. And I think hold off on playing the Wishful Baton. Yeah, let's... how do I want to do this? So let's go ahead and just Gaia Blaster. I kind of wanted to Ultra Ball the Thin, but at the same time, like, there's no reason to. I was holding off on playing... Well, I am holding off currently on playing the Wishful Baton until I'm about to get knocked out, because all it takes is a Field Blower. Like, he has nothing on his team that I'm in danger of getting knocked out by. Okay, so he has the Hydreigon. You choose 3 of your bench Pokemon and discard... Oh, so this is a Giratina spread deck. Okay. That makes a lot of sense, and I'm not sure what Yamask does. That's obviously just the damage swap Lele, so I will want to take that thing out, because if I can remove that thing from the game, then my opponent cannot manipulate damage counters in order to take knockouts, and that will be obviously more ideal for me. I might want to take out the Hydreigon at some point too. But my opponent's actually giving me his Lele, which is interesting. So yeah, I am going to go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of an energy and the Mysterious Treasure to grab probably just another Genesect, in all honesty, to keep powering that up. Let's go ahead and Guzma up the... I'm actually going to go ahead and Guzma up the Oranguru, because even though my opponent's giving me Lele, he has a very low hand... do I want to do that, though? Because Lele is what will make his deck go. So I think I'm actually just going to knock out the Lele, because Lele is what scares me in terms of getting prizes and whatnot. So let's go ahead and just charge up twice, because I mean, I'm going to be doing that this turn anyway. Let's energy reload onto the Genesect on the bench. And I will have... Do I want to Wishful Baton now? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, because I don't know what his Cofagrigus will do, and then let's just knock out the Lele. I'm holding on to the energy so that I can play it onto my Genesect on the bench, or to play it onto a new Genesect should I need to do that. Just basically, I want to stream Genesects, and the longer that I can do that, the better. Turns out my opponent has a Rescue Stretcher, so he would have been able to get the Oranguru back anyway. So, I mean, it really doesn't ultimately matter that I chose to knock out the Lele over the Oranguru, but at the same time it did force him to use an energy, or lose an energy that he had attached to the Lele, so that it is a win in regards to that. But my opponent does just go ahead and discard another Hydreigon with his Sightseer. Yeah, it's the exact same one. We see Judge, we see... Yeah, that... Oof. That Shrine of Punishment is going to be really annoying, and I already got rid of my only Field Blower, so that's going to be quite detrimental to us. My opponent does go ahead and... what did he do? Oh, he played Marshadow. I was like, why do I have 4 new cards? That's right, he played Marshadow. But he plays down another Lele. He goes ahead and promotes this Lele, so it probably will... It will not quite be able to knock out my Genesect. Yeah, he is just going to go ahead and Psywave. I'm 10 damage away from being knocked out. He can just move around damage next turn, but what this does do is it actually gives me a knockout on his Lele. So what I'm going to do is actually attach the energy to Naganadel. And then let's grab Sightseer with this, which honestly could be good because I can get rid of the Apricorn Maker, which was something that I really wasn't going to be wanting late game, and I get even more energy. So I think, yeah, I can't charge up because there's nothing in the discard pile. So what I'm going to do is just reload. reload the energy that I put on Naganadel, just so I can be that much closer to potentially hitting for 170 and knocking out Hydreigon, which is, yeah, because I would need 2 more energy. I can just energy reload onto my Genesect and then manually attach an energy. So yeah, we already have taken 3 prizes. My opponent has taken none, but at the same time, he has a ton of energy or damage on board. So he has enough damage to knock out a Lele, and quite frankly, if he wants to completely heal this Genesect and knock out one of my Leles, I'm okay with that, because eventually my opponent is going to have to knock out some combination of a Lele, or not a Lele, of a Naganadel and a Genesect, or 2 Naganadel, 2 Genesect. My opponent, we are seeing him finally get fully set up with what this deck does, where Hydreigon discards Giratina off the bench, and Giratina just goes ahead and puts itself right back on the bench. So very, very cool deck. Does look like it's a little bit slow with Hydreigon, but nonetheless, it is still a very cool idea. So now with... Okay, he's going to go ahead and swap around energy. He's actually going to knock out my Genesect. Huh. But he is going to move all the damage onto the new Genesect. That's interesting. Because he can't quite knock it out. Can he? No, he'll be 20 damage short if he moves all the damage onto that. But I mean, I guess that is smart because it puts it in range of just like Spell Tag, or even just, well, I guess if I promote it active, it won't matter in terms of Giratina getting extra damage onto it. But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how the end game goes, because I will be able to knock out his Lele this coming turn. Meanwhile, he's only taken 1 prize. I mean, he's set up another one. But at the same time, I will be down to 4 prizes. Or not 4 prizes, I will be down to 2 prizes. I will have taken 4 prizes. And this can actually work out for me. So I'm promoting my Naganadel because I want to bring up the Hydreigon, I think. I think I want to Guzma up the Hydreigon because that's enabling all the Giratinas to constantly be recycled. So let's go ahead and charge up once again. Or I'll charge up on this one. And yeah, let's get rid of that Hydreigon because the 2 Giratinas that are on the bench are insanely problematic. Like, those guys are issues that I need to deal with ASAP, or I need to deal with them, like, need to deal with the recycling of them ASAP. And so let's go ahead and play the Choice Band onto Genesect to see if I can bait out a Field Blower. Knock out the Hydreigon. Now my opponent's Giratinas are there to stay until I knock them out, or he has to manually discard them in one way or the other. So I'm in a very good position. I have a Guzma for next turn to knock out his Tapu Lele, and oh boy, he has a Tapu Koko that will be able to knock out my Genesect. So this is looking rough. That's a very good play too. Very good play, spreading around all the damage, because he will be able to knock out my Genesect. He was able to bring up my Naganadel with no energy on it. What does this do? Discard any number of your bench Pokemon. This attack is 30. Okay. So, I mean, it's just another way of discarding Giratina. I cannot let that thing... Well, I mean, if it attacks into me, then he still has to wait until next turn to discard his Giratina, so that could work. But right now, Lele is the issue, I think. Because that thing... do I want to play Shuckle? Let's go ahead and see if I can grab a Genesect off this. Well, it's not a Genesect, but it's a Nest Ball, and that's just as good as a Genesect. So, yeah, there's 2 in my discard pile. That means there's 2 in the deck, or at least I would hope there's 2 in the deck. There's at least 1. I can go ahead and play that. Put the energy onto it. And then I think I'm actually going to have to attack with Naganadel this turn. So let's go ahead and charge up onto this Naga. Let's double charge up, because I can only move 1 energy onto Genesect per turn. Like, if I could just move as many energy as I want, then, oh, that'd be amazing. But I think the play is to Yeah, let's go ahead and energy reload, because I have the Guzma in my hand. So let's Guzma up his Lele, as that's what's scary. There's 150 damage, or 140 damage, sorry, I can't count. There will be 160 coming into this turn, so he can set up a Lele for a KO, but that would remove all damage off the board. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and Shuckle to see what else is in my deck. Okay, there's 2 Cynthia and an energy. I'm going to need to manually attach that last energy later. But yeah, let's go ahead and go for Turning Point. It's super effective against Lele because, I mean, the non-GXs don't, or the non-GXs have weaknesses. So I'm able to knock that out, go down to 1 prize, and then Genesect is going to be what I need to finish out this game, I'm pretty sure. So I need to draw into that last energy, because... Actually, no, if he just leaves up Coco and attacks, then I can manually retreat into my Genesect and just win the game, plain and simple. But if he does make the smart play and goes into Giratina to try to buy time, then I will have to... I will have to try to draw into that last energy so that I can... energy reload and manually attach so that I can have sufficient damage to knock out the Giratina. So that's going to be kind of my plan going forward. I really hope that he just attacks me with Tapu Koko, because if he attacks me with Tapu Koko, then that is just absolutely amazing, because then I just win the game by retreating into my Genesect. But considering the way my opponent's played, I'm going to go out on a limb and say my opponent actually knows what the heck they're doing, so they won't allow me that very obvious and easy way of winning the game. So I think I'll have to bank off of drawing into that energy. And I mean, I would hope with Cynthia and the fact that I have an Acro Bike in the deck, somehow I'd be able to draw into that energy. But I mean, again, this is the TCG. You never know what you're going to draw into, and he does make the smart play. Goes into his Giratina, and at this point, all I need is that energy. I need the single grass energy that's in my deck, and I will be able to win the game. So let's go ahead and charge up, just because, I mean, I need to do that anyway. I mean, I'm going to do it on both my Naganadels, just because, I mean, that's, like, 1 is all I need in order to win the game. But I might as well just do that to have more energy on board, should I find myself in a situation that I'm like, oh, this situation was better than I had thought. Okay, so I have the ability to win right here, I think. I didn't draw into the energy, but I can thin my deck by 1 more card. I know there's another Genesect in there, and there's another Naganadel. Okay, so there are 4 cards left. I need to get the energy off of this one. Oh, I get the energy, we win the game. So I'm not sure what my opponent necessarily would have done to win the game. Like, had my opponent, or had I not drawn into that energy, I don't know what play my opponent could have made to prevent me from winning the game. I guess he could have tried to stall, but eventually I would draw into that energy. My Genesect was nowhere near getting knocked out. And so, yeah, I mean, we are able to win the game, but I think even if we hadn't drawn into that energy, just constantly attacking with Genesect would eventually result in me winning the game by sufficiently damaging something to where my opponent can't retreat enough for to avoid a 2-hit KO. So yeah, we are able to win that game. That was actually a really, really good game against a very cool deck by You've Been Duped. So I know this is, yeah, it's not quite 30 minutes, but it's not quite as long as I usually like to do it, but I think I am going to end the video right there. This was still a very cool deck, so shoutouts to Aura for that. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.